Hi, Alfred Deedham here. Going to record a little tour of this masonry arch that I built for maple sugar production. Here we are, Peacham, Vermont. It's kind of a miserable day. Got a sleeping dog in the snowbank. Guess it's April 7th right now, or 8th, I don't know. Kind of a late season. Normally, looking out that way, we can see the White Mountains. It's a pretty decent view from here, but here's my arch. Built this winter inside a small tent that I just wrapped plastic around staging and heated the small area to build this masonry arch. Been a design that I'd been meditating on for quite a few years, and was finally able to implement it. Gasification, I guess, is the general philosophy behind it. And yeah, there's the firebox. You can see that's moving right along, and maybe it's better to try to hear it move along, but a lot of turbulence taking place in there. It's which is good, makes those gases with the oxygen, complete combustion, hot and all that. Yeah, I got a 2x4 flat pan sitting on top of this thing. Goes up. I have a 10-inch stack. So that's two 4-foot sections of 10-inch chimney pipe. And then I had this base stack made. It's a 4-foot tall section. I had that made by a local chimney company that I do a lot of work with, and it's nice because it goes the full width of the arch. So basically, got the firebox sitting on sitting above a grate, obviously. And you can see right there where I took out every other web of that grate because I found it was clogging before, really slowing things down. And on the left and right there, you can see the pipe with the holes in it. I'll show you more about that, but that delivers air under the fire. And but I've actually just been leaving this door ajar like that. Everything slows down quite a bit when that grate clogs up. The firebox floor, well, it's obviously just above that grate. I have angled brick sloping down towards that grate on either side of the firebox floor, so that any coals that are occurring, kind of get gravity fed down to the grate and towards the the fresh air. It comes up, goes through the wood, obviously, burns. Now, what's kind of different and interesting about this arch is that most arches, this is hard for me to do one hand, but most arches, the back of the firebox goes up, and then there seems to be a ramp heading back up towards where the flue pan might be if it were a bigger rig. But firebox comes up, slopes back towards the stack. What this thing does, firebox comes up, and then it slopes forward about 7 inches. And then on top of that, I have a cast refractory hump that has a bunch of holes in it, and it delivers the secondary combustion air right at this point. The top of that hump is about 3.5 inches below the surface of this pan, the bottom surface of this pan, and then the rest of this area is about 5 inches or so. So it functions very much, I believe, like a throat in a fireplace. pulls the gases through the throat, speeds everything up, and I believe, I don't know, I think it should create a low pressure zone and really suck in the secondary combustion air, and then all the gases can run underneath the pan and up the stack. As far as I can tell, it works. It's hard to tell today. It being a cloudy day, you couldn't really see the smoke if there was any, but I was able to boil on a bluebird day, and not a puff of smoke. So in there you can see I have 2 pipes with a threaded rod running through it. Those run underneath the firebox, and these 2 run up underneath the floor. After that hump, there's like 2 channels. It's kind of hard to explain, but hopefully you take a second to look at the blog that I have, because the design details are easy to see there. Anyway, that's for the secondary combustion air. Runs up through those pipes and then runs under through channels underneath the floor to that hump, supposedly preheating, but that's all speculation. I should have thermocouples in there to be able to get that information. You can see the threaded rod. It's there so that I could put a damper plate and be able to control the airflow. I was going to bring that rod to a local machinist and have him do that for me, but I just haven't had the time, and frankly I'm not sure if it's necessary, because I run it, it seems I run it wide open. There's no need to damp it down really. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this performance. I haven't been keeping track of how much wood I've been burning, which is kind of a critical figure if I were to make claims about its efficiency. I guess the gasification, the philosophy there is that you're burning less wood and getting the same evaporation rate. I mean, for what it's worth, I have a timer set for 15 minutes where I top off that preheater up there and I measure the depth. But it seems like, judging by that, about every 20 minutes I load this thing up, and I find that if I just load the firebox right up, it gets going. And it's a 2x4 pan, and I've been boiling today, and it's been averaging out to about a little over 12 gallons per hour, which I think that's a pretty formidable figure, especially without having a blower. I'd be really interested to see what this thing does if I were to stretch it out 2 feet, put a 2x6, reconfigure it for a 2x6 rig with a flue pan. I think it'd be up to the task. It gets real hot inside that firebox. The fire bricks glow red. When the fire dies down, there's less light in there. You can see that the bricks are glowing, and they've actually they're kind of black now. When the thing's stone cold, they're just black. There are a few things I should consider modifying. This granite lintel right here going over the door, it's cracked, as you can see, not very well protected from the heat, so it expanded, cracked, and then in turn I got this big stair step crack going up the masonry above it. So basically that lintel just pushed itself apart basically. So I could avoid that in the future by leaving these head joints open, maybe do like a high temperature silicone or something, and then kind of allow a slip joint, so maybe lay some sheet metal above and below